We are live, Tammy. We're here.
Hello.
Hi, welcome everybody. Thanks for popping in tonight. We'll give people a little bit of time to join in. Oh my goodness. How are you, Tammy?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy day.
It has been a very, very busy day.
It has.
Trust me.
The universe keeps throwing curveballs every second I turn around.
I know. Well, I wanted to thank you for agreeing to come on tonight. And as everybody knows, our friend Dana Joy was supposed to be here too, but she had an emergency come up. So, we're just wishing her well and letting her take care of what she needs to take care of.
Absolutely.
And my husband is here. He's monitoring my tech. So,
that's nice.
Yeah. I know. Say hi, Tom. You can say
hi.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Are we there we go. I think we're good. We better be live. I hope so.
It says we're live.
Are we live, Tom? He's running to go check and tell me. So
it says
in here we are. In StreamYard it says we're live. So let me make sure. I want to make sure. It says you are live. View on Facebook. Let's go take a look. I told you the last time I did this. We are. See, we're live on Facebook. There we go.
I can see us. Okay.
And I am lagging terribly. Just pointing that out. So I apologize for the screen lag, folks. But anyway, as I was saying, we're wishing Dana well, and our thoughts are with her as she takes care of the things that she needs to take care of. But I'm very happy to have Tammy Christine here. And for those of you who do not know, Tammy is a psychic medium and paranormal investigator. She is also one of my very good friends, and I'm so happy that she is with us. Aww. So, Tammy, you want to? I know, I love you.
I love you
want to tell our audience a little bit about you and your background and what you do?
Sure. Well, okay, for starters, I hold down a full-time career as a court reporter. So it's my job to take all that lovely testimony down in stenotype when we have whatever it is we're doing, depositions, cases, arbitrations, mediations. So that's my day job. And then I am a paranormal investigator with Afterlife Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma, here in Oklahoma City. And I'm a member of the Warren Legacy Foundation. And I do readings and spirit fairs and all that kind of stuff on the side as a medium.
Oh, wow. You do a lot of stuff. And you have been doing paranormal investigation and mediumship for quite some time now, right?
Yeah, like my mediumship started when I was a kid, but I kind of put it to rest for a long number of years. So actually, the really practicing mediumship has been for about the past 5 years. So been doing readings and things like that more recently, because I finally let all those walls and those barriers that prevent us all from going out there and being who we want to be, who we are, kind of let all that float away and decided, not to worry about, all the thought processes that go behind what is a medium. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Which we all deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's actually there's a lot that goes into it. I was thinking about this earlier when we were thinking about doing this live, and one of the things that I think about quite a bit is how mediums are perceived by the general public.
Right.
That seems to be something we all struggle with. And if it, is, if there is one thing that you wish that people knew
Hmm.
about mediums, what would it be?
We're not all out there practicing black magic and Satanism and witchcraft and like bad stuff. That has nothing to do with what a medium is. That would be what I would say.
Yeah. No, it has absolutely nothing to do with what a medium is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop for just a second because Tom is telling me that we are not streaming onto Facebook, but StreamYard's telling me we are.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Because I saw this. I was thinking the same thing because I'm not finding it coming up.
Yeah. And that is what I am finding too. So what I'm going to do, let's pause for a moment, see if we can get this figured out, since we probably just talked for about 6 minutes and nobody's heard a word we said.
Right.
All right.
It just goes right along, par for the course with the day.
It is just, but it says we have 3 who are watching us. So, hey, okay.
Where are they watching? Oh, there's Annie. There's some comments streaming in. I see you both on Facebook, says Anna. And Annie says,
all right. So we've got people coming in. There's Anna, there's Annie. It showed up in her feed. So I think it is. And there's McKinley. So, they're watching. They're watching. Yay.
Hey.
Hi, guys. I feel so much better now because I will tell you, it has been a horrible, horrible day. So we're so glad you're here. Oh my goodness.
I know, like, commiserate with us. We need some good vibes.
Come commiserate. We could use it. Tammy has had a bad day. I've had a bad day. Dana's having a really bad day. So come talk to us. Come talk to us. All right. So maybe that first 6 minutes wasn't for naught. I'm hoping.
I guess not, because they said they heard it.
Yeah, they said they heard it. Yay.
That's so weird.
So I'm going to go back then along that topic because it really frustrates me. One of the things that I noticed when I decided that I was going to offer services and do this professionally, and we all get trolls. Mediums probably get more trolls than other people. But it is that
someone doesn't know, define trolls. Tell them what you mean by that, because like that could be, we could be talking about trolls.
No, I'm not talking about the real trolls. No, I am okay. The trolls I'm referring to are usually between the ages of 35 and 50, and they live in their mother's basement. That's the trolls I'm talking about, and they never see the light of day. But the biggest thing they would come at me with is, "You're a witch." And I'm like, well, no, but I appreciate the compliment. I know a lot of lovely witches. I am not one of them.
Right, Anna. Yeah, let me tell you the funniest story. I can share a really good story about that. So a while back, we had hardwood floors installed in our house, and we had a board that cracked and had to have warranty work done. The gentleman that showed up at my house came in, and it just happened to be in our dining room, which it's never been a dining room. It was a playroom, and then it's a music room, and now it basically houses my a lot of crystals and my ghost hunting equipment.
Right.
And that was the room he had to work in. And he came in and he noticed my ghost hunting equipment, and he said, "What is all this? What do you do with all this?" And I said, "Well, I'm a paranormal investigator." He looked at me like you would have thought he would have run out of the front door. he literally, and we're in Oklahoma, I'm in the Bible Belt, so I do get it.
Yeah.
But he immediately was like, okay, you're going to hell, right? Like just right away, you're going to hell, right? And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna try to educate him, but I'm not gonna argue with him, because whatever he wants to believe is fine with me, because I know I'm not. But I mean, it's that obtuse sometimes. So
Yeah, it is. It is. I actually have a similar story. So, um, once a month, we have a cleaning company that comes in, and we just have them do some general cleaning because we both work full time. We both have a lot of stuff we do outside of the home, extracurricular activities. So it's just easier to have somebody come in, right? And upstairs, I have books on demonology for education purposes because I need to understand these things. And I had a book, and I'd been reading it, so it was open to the page, it was laying flat. I noticed that after the cleaning ladies had left, that book was closed and kind of shoved under the side table. And I'm okay. It's just a book.
they made it disappear. Oh goodness.
Oh my God. Maybe it was a spider demon that made, they pulled it
It
under.
could have been. That was what it was.
It could have been.
Definitely.
Tammy and I are all about spider demons. Yeah, no spider demons. No spider
That's
demons.
a whole nother thing.
I do promise that we will tell the spider demon story before we are over. But there are some other things I definitely want to talk about. And you guys, hey, don't be afraid to type in questions. Oh, hey Tammy, you got somebody in there. Hang on, let's show that comment. There we go.
Yeah, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
Yes,
yeah,
it's so true.
sad that people are closed-minded like that. It is terribly sad. But we deal with that a lot. We deal with it a lot in mediumship. We deal with it so much in paranormal investigation as well. And I think one of the things I have unfortunately encountered, and Tammy, I'm not sure that this has been true for you, but I have encountered it even within the investigative community with teams that may not want to work with mediums because they want their evidence to be completely clean, scientific, gathered with instruments. And they don't see mediums as being able to assist them or helping their investigation at all, or their ability to get solid evidence.
I haven't had as much experience with that. But I can tell you that typically when we do a paranormal investigation, I am not known to be the medium. Like we don't present me as the medium to our clients.
Right.
So if I were to present myself that way, then that may very well be the case. But we don't usually, when we go in, present as that. So they're not looking at me as if I'm giving information that's coming from the ether.
Right. But I'm talking about paranormal teams, what I've encountered in general, because I would never go into an investigation and say, oh, I'm a medium. Right. I would not let the client know that. That's something that I don't want them to have that in the back of their minds.
Right.
But there are still teams, and it could be just specific to this area because we're outside of Washington, D.C. It's a little bit different than where you are in Oklahoma. And the mentality is a little bit different. So, but I have run into teams that really just don't want to work with mediums. And I find that interesting.
That is interesting.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I think that we can certainly add to an investigation and, help validate what they're getting. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, because when we go and we do our investigations, we are not solely relying on equipment. We are not solely relying on mediumistic ability. We are trying to debunk everything first and foremost. Even though we may feel something, we try to debunk if we get any activity. The validation, that's where it comes in handy, because once you do your investigation, you have no idea at all. You go out and do it, then you get your information from Googling, trying to find out familial relations, what was this land. You just do all those avenues. When then you get something that makes sense, something that actually you can tangibly grab onto and say, oh my gosh, this ties up with this, and that's what I was getting there, and I already got that name, and here he
Right.
is in the living, but he's passed. It's amazing. and
Yeah.
it's and it's irrefutable at that point.
Hmm.
I mean, there's just no
Absolutely.
way to have gotten that information and then been able to validate it on paper through
Hmm.
census records or just whatever you're looking at. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think it's
And
invaluable.
I think it is. I think it is absolutely just as valuable as the information you are picking up with your paranormal equipment, whether it's an EVP or you're getting specific readings, or you're getting hits on a REM pod, or what have you. I
Right.
think it is just as valuable as that, because then, you can say, okay, we have this. Our medium, not knowing anything, got this. We can corroborate it.
Right.
So I think, it's helpful. So it's something that I've encountered. I wasn't sure if it was something you'd encountered or not. But I find it interesting the way mediums are handled in the paranormal community.
Right.
So
I think
yeah.
I think I've dealt more so with being in situations where other mediums may say something contrary or different to what you're getting.
Right.
And then it's like there's this almost like a, well, I'm right and you're not attitude. And it's like every medium works differently. And I know from experience, just doing practice circles and mediumship, circles with you, Jen, and when we were doing our training, we get together. I may get this piece and this piece and this piece, and you may get this piece and this piece and this piece, and they all tie back together. But you didn't get what I got, and I didn't get what you got, and we were both accurate.
Hmm.
Maybe not to 100%, but we were both accurate. And then when you put it together, the pieces all could fit.
Yeah,
So
because and that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted you and Dana on, because let me explain to those watching is that Tammy and Dana and I all trained together under Cindy Kaza. And I'm hoping you all know who Cindy Kaza is, so because she's awesome. But
she is awesome.
we found that when we worked together and we practiced together, we were getting some pretty incredible stuff, and our abilities were basically complementing each other. So we really enjoyed working together. It was something that we would practice remote viewing, or maybe a
Mhm.
cold case, something like that. And what we would do is we would be able to put together a full picture from the different pieces of information that we got, and
Right.
and then we could validate that information, and it was really great, and I love working with those two. I would actually love to work a case with you guys at some point, so that would be fantastic.
We'll see if we can ever get that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It'll require planes, trains, and automobiles, but
It would require planes, trains, and automobiles. That's funny. That's funny. Oh goodness.
yeah, yeah.
How did you both?
Oh,
We have a
let's see.
question from
I
Anna.
see. Let me pull it up. All right. So she's
Hmm.
asking, how did we figure out that the things that we do, like readings or paranormal investigations, were for us? How did you know that it was something that was you were really meant to do? Tammy, you want to start with that one?
Shall I tell my story?
Tell your story. Share.
I don't know if you've heard this one, Anna, but this is the story I tell every time someone asks me this question because it's just simply what happened. I had gifts back when I was 8 years old, 12 years old, saw my first apparition, was little, had parents that didn't necessarily think what I, saw was real. Of course, it was in my imagination, or I imagined it. It was, I saw something else and thought I saw a person. And that happened for a long time, a very long time. So it wasn't until really my dad passed 5 years and a few months ago, and it wasn't until then that I had lots of different incidents happen over the years, lots of different paranormal things in my grandmother's house, who is one of my spirit guides, and she was very religious and also very gifted. And I've had many things happen over the course of time, many knowings where you just are doing the laundry, you're walking along and all of a sudden it's like, there it is. And you don't know why, but and then it'll happen. Or then somebody will give you a call out of the blue and it's like, wait, I just, it's just knowings. I always have clairsentient feelings too, and I'm very empathic. So I could walk by a person and like almost telepathically read their mind. I do this now with my husband a lot, where I'll look at him and I'll say, I'm reading your thoughts, and he'll say, what am I thinking? And I'll literally say it, and he just like goes, that's crazy. He's like, I don't know how you're doing that. So I've had a lot of that my whole life. But 5 years ago, when my father passed, he actually kind of always poo-pooed on the whole idea of the afterlife. It was, once you're gone, that's it. Put you in the ground and you're dead and you're done and there's no more. That's it. And I never felt that. Always felt something was way bigger than me. Always had the need to be a healer, to help people. Always thought, gosh, what can I do, since I was a little girl? Because I have to do something to help people. I'm meant for this. There's a calling. I know it. I just don't know where I fit in. So when my father passed, it was 2 a.m. We were actually slated to get in the car and travel back to Houston in the morning to see him. And we had been there the weekend before, and he was very, very ill. He had cancer. And we ended up, like, I laying there at 2 a.m. I kind of had an uneasy feeling. I felt uneasy. I felt as if someone was in the room, and definitely knew that there was a presence. Normally, my tact would have been to tell these things, leave, go away. I'm sleeping. Don't bother me. However, this evening felt different. And my dog kind of got up and scooted across the bed and was like, like, somebody moved him. And I watched my mattress go down back in the shape of someone's hiney, like someone's little butt. And I'm just staring at it and going, what is that? There's nobody sitting there. How is that possible? My phone rang and I answered it. And it was my mother and my sister and my brother-in-law, and they were all crying. And my father had passed 5 minutes ago. So I got off the phone and started crying myself. And my husband said, are you okay? And I said, I am, but I need to go talk to him. I just need to go talk to him. So I left my bedroom and went to my living room, sat on the couch, and my children's bedrooms are off that wing of the home, and they sleep with their doors shut. We all do. I have this thing. It's funny, Anna, but I have this thing. And for some reason, I'm more comfortable when doors are closed. I don't know why, especially when sleeping in even haunted locations. I'll be the one to like put a spiritual barrier and close the door and think that that's going to keep things out. And I know it isn't, but my intention is that it will. So it's your intention, again, that will hold true. And so I'm sitting on the couch. I'm talking to my father. Sorry, I'll digress and go back. Sitting on the couch, talking to my father, and saying, I'm sorry, Dad, I wasn't there for you. I feel so bad. I didn't hold your hand. I wasn't there. My daughter's door swings open, and I'm immediately like, oh gosh, now I've got to go tell her grandpa passed, and this is horrible. I woke her up crying. Oh no. started heading to her room and realized that she's still in her bed asleep, but her door just swung open. No sooner did that happen, then my son's phone starts playing a song. And so then I'm drawn there. It's like a little breadcrumb trail was being laid out. He was visiting people, like saying his goodbyes. And I walk in my son's room and he's asleep. His phone's across the room on a charger. And hi, Steph. And he said, and my son's asleep, the phone's going off. My dad always said that he would not want us to spend a fortune on a casket because all he's going to do is disintegrate and go back to the earth. And then that's it. He's done. There's no more. And so naturally, that's a pretty bleak, bleak thought that there's nothing further, that's it. But that's right. What my dad felt. And he was a Vietnam vet. And he always said that. He would say, put me in the ground, just put me in a box and put me in the ground. That was like his little phrase. He would say all the time, put me in a box and just put me in the ground. Well, the phone that I went over and looked at was playing Alice in Chains' Man in the Box. And, at that moment, it was just absolutely, oh my gosh, Dad. This is Dad. He's visiting. He's saying his goodbyes. This is my dad. And I fell to my knees and I still was crying. And I heard his voice in my right ear say, "You were right." And I knew that was my green light to go forth and to do this.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Yep. And I mean, it is so interesting how we come into these abilities. I would see things as a child. Mm-hmm. I would feel things as a child. Mm-hmm. And I saw stuff that scared me a lot. Everybody talks about the monster under the bed or the monster in the closet. I had something that lived in my closet and it would come out and I could see it and it terrified me. I was fascinated by the cemetery in our church. We went to a Methodist church. That history went back pre-Civil War. It still had bullet holes in the sanctuary, brick walls, and had a cemetery. I loved that cemetery as a child because I played with the other children. There weren't any other children. I had a lot of imaginary friends. Mm-hmm. And as you grow older, you're different. You don't want people to think you're crazy. So exactly. I shut this stuff off. I didn't want it. I was still fascinated by the paranormal. I knew something was out there, but I just shut it off and I went through my life. And it wasn't until going through my divorce 7 years ago and then going into recovery and getting sober that these things really came back full force. I was hearing music, voices. I was having all kinds of experiences. And I'm like, I know I am not insane. So I need to figure out what is going on. And one night, I just happened to pop onto Cindy Kaza's website, and I had no idea she taught classes. And I
didn't either.
Yeah, and I saw mediumship for beginners, and I was like, and that was my light bulb moment. And I have not looked back since. My fascination with the paranormal, that has been part of my whole life. And I think it's because I spent so much time as a child dealing with it and not really understanding it. So that's a big part of it. And where mediumship and the paranormal meet for me is being able to work with those energies and understand their stories and get those stories told, because Absolutely. A lot of times that's what they need in order to rest. Yeah. They just want their side of the story told, or it hasn't been told right. And so that's important to me. And it's also important to me to work with the living to help them heal.
Right.
So, I mean, I honestly think, I think it's a marriage between the two for me. And I know it's not that way for every medium. But for me, they do go hand in hand.
Hmm.
So that was a great question, Anna. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thanks, Anna.
And hi, Stephanie. I'm glad you joined us. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free, pop them in the chat. We are happy to answer them. But I kind of I want to continue on this line a little bit, Tammy. And what do you think the most difficult part of being a medium is when we're talking about we're doing a paranormal investigation? You know, what is the hardest part of having those abilities when you're trying to investigate?
The emotion. Definitely like the emotion. Because when you're in a location, here's the thing. When I'm doing readings, right? I have the ability to do the reading, then I can cut my ties and I can go ground and I can let that fade away. I can let that energy go. When you're in a paranormal location, you are usually, lack of amenities. You may be in a place that has no power, no electricity, or maybe they have electricity, but you're very limited and you're sleeping there. You're not leaving and going somewhere to where you can separate from it. You are literally in it until you leave with your team. So you have to be very careful. I cannot stress that enough. You have to be very careful to be very focused, centered, grounded. You have to clear, you have to protect yourself. And you need to do that because, guys, you don't know what's there. And also, you don't know what's been brought in. You don't know if, I mean, there could be 15 teams go to that place and have similar occurrences. And then one comes in and maybe they do something that, dare I say, is not something they should have been doing there. And then now you have something, a door opens, something else is there. You're walking right into a bee's nest, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you have to be very, very careful. And it's hard to get away from the emotion when you're in that situation because you're trying to be open. You're trying to get the information. You're trying to help and you're trying to get all the clues and the little breadcrumbs so that you can figure out who is there, what is happening, is there somebody in need. So that makes it difficult when you're in a location and you don't have the ability to step away. Now, of course,
Yeah.
you can go outside. You can go outside, put your feet on the earth, ground. You can get away temporarily. But if you're slated to be there until 11 o'clock the next day, you're still slated to be there.
You're stuck. You're
Yeah.
stuck.
So
No,
I think that's
I
hard.
do. I agree with that. I agree with that. That is one of the hardest things. Is that when you are in a place and those emotions are flooding through, and we both have our techniques for going in and making sure that we're shielded to a degree. But if I'm investigating, I need to let those shields down.
Exactly.
I need to know what's there. If I've got my shields up, I'm going to miss something. And I don't want to do that. And so it's very difficult. I'm also exceptionally empathic. Clairsentience, which is clear feeling, that is my strongest clair. And I feel things emotionally, and I also feel them physically. I was telling you guys the other day, I can't visit a battlefield without getting shot multiple times because I feel it. And that's just part of what my abilities are. But when you're in an investigation and you are there until it's done, you can't shut down properly.
Right.
And then it is like having a hangover for days when you're back.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
And it's
That is
also hard on us just health wise.
Yeah.
to be in those, because we have to stop and go, okay, wait a second. Is this headache or is this chest pain I'm having? Is that me or is this spiritual?
Right.
So it can be worrisome as well. And I've had
Mhm.
very many situations, like we were in Boston, Mass, and Brooke and I were in Boston, Mass, and we were in a hotel, and it wasn't even a haunted hotel, and I know now now I know why everything transpired the way it did, and it makes perfect sense. And it's actually a very beautiful story. But at the time, I went to go to bed and I was having massive, massive chest pain. And I literally was seconds from picking up the phone at midnight and calling 911 in a strange town where I don't know anyone. I didn't even know what hospital to go to. My family wasn't there. I was really scared. And lo and behold, thank God, because I asked my guides, I said, spirit guides, help me here. Like, I need to know what to do. What is this? Is this me? Is this something else? What is happening? What is going on? And I'd had a couple of occurrences prior to that on previous investigations that was like a small amount of that and that quit. And so naturally, I had already been tested. I had already gone to the doctor. I'd already had life screening done, and I knew my heart and my carotid and everything was fine. So I really wasn't concerned, but it was so massive that it made me think, well, maybe they missed something. And so as a result of it, I kept praying to my spirit guides to show me what I need to do. I saw my grandmother sitting in the chair across the room. Makes perfect sense now. My grandmother had a twisting aorta her whole life, and that caused her a lot of pain, and it would be sharp pains, and she would just have to stop and catch her breath and like deal with it, and it would pass, and then she'd go on. And that was a number of years. So I didn't know it at the time, but my grandmother, I'd always suspected she was one of my spirit guides, but I had never really had it confirmed. I saw her across the room. I immediately said, okay, this is strange. I'm having the pain. You're sitting across the room and smiling. Can you just maybe back off a little? Just let me get some rest. Go ahead and back off for the night. I'll be here tomorrow. You can come back, but I need you to go ahead and go now for tonight. And I love you and I see you, and I'm recognizing you're here in spirit. And it quit on a dime, stopped on a dime. And it wasn't until I had returned back home from that trip several many months later, my mother actually gave me a phone call and said, hey, I found some really cool things from your grandmother that I think you should have. And I'm like, what is that, Mom? It was all of these pages of handwritten notes of places my grandmother wanted to go investigate as a paranormal investigator, but she never did because that wasn't a thing in her day. But she had an interest and she wanted to go to these places, and Boston, Mass is on the list.
Oh, wow.
And some of the places we've been since are on the list. And so now we just know that my grandmother, she's one of the investigators. She comes with us. And I had another medium, a very well-known, prominent medium here in Oklahoma City. She's amazing. Her name is also Cindy, but not our Cindy Keza, different Cindy. She actually gave me a reading in a gallery once. My grandmother came through and she said, I have a J name here, another J name. Her name's Juanita, but she doesn't want to be called that. She wants to be called Juanita Badass. And she says that the letters for badass kind of are in her last name, but she also wants whoever this person is to know that, yes, she is going to travel with you and go on your adventures with you. Well, my grandmother's last name is Barrasso. And her first name is Juanita. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's my grandmother. Oh my God. So Grandma Barrasso is a member of API. She's an honorary member and she travels everywhere with us. And I always feel her right here in my chest. It's the same pain every time. And she typically pops in when we're in need of protection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I have read your grandmother before for you, and I've had her come in. She has given me that lovely chest pain that is her calling card.
That's her calling card.
But yeah, it's one of those things that when you're first starting out, especially if you are clairsentient, and you feel very, very deeply, trying to determine emotionally and even physically what is yours and what isn't can be a nightmare. I mean, it can be an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
I have had issues where my mood will change on a dime, and I'm like, wait, this isn't me. And I have to stop and think about, where is this coming from? And then it will normally have something to do with either who I've been around or a place I've been to. And I'm like, okay, it makes sense. That isn't mine. And then I can release it. But when you're
Right.
brand new, you have no idea. And again, it goes back to that. Am I losing my mind? Am I crazy? Why are my moods
Yeah.
swinging so wildly?
Yeah. Yeah, and I know, like, Stephanie, she's watching. She is very gifted medium as well, which with Warren Foundation. And Stephanie and I constantly are bouncing off, like, hey, I'm having a bad day, or things are out of sorts, or I know I need to do this. But it's also very important to know that just because we know how to take care of it, we know what we need to do. We know we need to go ground. We know we need to cut ties. Sometimes when that emotional roller coaster starts, it's almost like all this pent up energy, and you know what to do, but you forget to go do it. And then you're just sitting there like out on a limb going, why am I feeling, I know I got to do things, but you need that push. You need another medium to come in and actually kind of say, hey, did you ground? Go ground. Like, sometimes it's important because we get all busy in our day, all wrapped up in what we're doing. It's such a good thing to have friends and have a good support system, because sometimes, I promise you, it's going to happen to you where you just, for whatever reason, cannot seem to get grounded, and you just need to talk it out and then go do what you already knew you needed to do.
Yep. Well, and I mean, I do that with you and Dana. And if I'm having oh my gosh, I'm flipping out, I will, message you guys and go, what is going on? And I mean, Tammy's talked me off a ledge before. So she's really good about that.
I try.
But yeah, I mean, and sometimes even when okay, this is what I need to do to take care of myself, when you're in that moment and you're wrapped up in it, it's like, okay, I'm flipping out here. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Stephanie said, can we talk about the energy shift from last week? It's still lingering and driving me nuts. Oh my God, yes, it is.
Yes, Stephanie, I'm going to pull that comment up, because yes, we can talk about that, because it's driving me nuts too. The energy has been so off this week. I know other people are feeling it too. I looked at just the issues we had getting this broadcast started tonight. So the energy is like,
is anyone else finding that it's like scattered? I mean, it's like hopping from one thing to the next, and it seems very chaotic and very confused, and you start to get a handle on something, and then you're getting thrown another curveball, and it's very crazy this week.
It's been crazy. I have been all over the place. Tabitha is saying she's been sleepy this week, and I have too. I have had so much fatigue. And this is the urge to prepare for something. Yes, Stephanie, me too.
And I can also say, with the sleepy part, oh my gosh, you guys. So all week long, it's been like, I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere, but I don't have something to be at. But then it's like, what did you forget? Well, I didn't forget anything. Well, why is this energy coming at me? And then it's draining me so bad. And then I'm getting so sleepy. But then I'm right back up the next day, and it's the same. It's just been the same all week.
It's the same really all week. Let me ask you, and this is for anybody who's watching too. Has anybody been having? McKinley said he's been having a wild, crazy week too. Yeah. Has anybody been having strange dreams this week? I mean, really strange
Yes.
dreams, because mine have been off the charts crazy. And the thing is that I get the feeling when I wake up, this is important and I need to remember this. And then I can't. It's so bizarre. It's
Well,
so
and
bizarre.
I have been astral traveling in my dreams this week,
Have you?
which and it yes, and I do that, but not as much as I have been this week. So, and I've gotten messages from a case that we worked on last week, and like it's been really strange.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not getting rest when I am resting.
I feel the exact same way. It's been very chaotic this week, and I know that there has been some planetary shifts. I'm not an astrologist by any means. I don't study the planets very closely. If anybody could shed light on it. Hi
Yeah.
Tina.
Mhm.
Yeah, dreams have been a big thing. Tina says dreams have been a big thing for her too. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But if anybody can shed light on, what's going on as far as planetary wise, I'd love that.
Yeah, and Thomas said
Oh,
Thomas jokingly earlier said he's like the master of chaos, but this week has been crazy too. And then he said he's been dealing with time anomalies.
oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
mhm.
And McKinley felt like there was a voice trying to speak in his ear. Oh, McKinley. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, and I had that weird night in Gettysburg just this past weekend where I woke up. Hi, Tina, honey. I'm glad you're here.
Mm.
Um, where I woke up in the middle of the night screaming. Now, I kid you not, I have not done this since I was a child. And I woke my husband up, scared him to death. So it's a lot. There's a
Is this
lot going on.
this is when you woke up and you were screaming when you woke
Hmm.
up? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So really, really strange energy going on. Very strange energy. So we're talking about I think we've got a number of people here who have some abilities who are watching us, and I'm very happy that they
We do.
are. Um what if you could go back to when you were first opening up and really started studying your abilities, what do you wish you had known then that took you just the hardest time
Hmm.
to learn that you know now?
Hmm. That's a great question. Haven't pondered that one. What do I wish I knew then that I know now? I know. I know what it is. I know what it is. To be patient with myself. To be
Yeah.
patient with myself because I am my biggest critic
Yep.
and I am also a Taurus. So I'm very stubborn and I don't like to fail. I've always been very meticulous about everything. So I think back when I first started, it was just terrifying and at the same time elating, but at the same time, like a lot of doubt. And I would
Hmm.
just kind of beat myself up constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
I
being more patient.
certainly I can relate to that. I would beat myself up, and I had no confidence in my abilities, but I had no confidence that spirit was going to be there for me. And that, I know how ridiculous that is now because they have never failed me once. Um,
Right.
but you really go through that. Am I making this all up in my head? I am going to go out there. I'm going
Yep.
to make a fool of myself. I am going to sit in a reading and I'm not going to get anything, which does happen. Hey, it can happen, but it's not the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. So, Oh, and Tabitha says not to push your abilities down for another person, to be who you are.
I went through that for a lot of years, Tabitha. I still have family that they do not believe. They do not believe in what I do. It's difficult. It's still difficult. Yeah, Stephanie says, even now I doubt myself. And she's never had a reason to. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of doubt and fear in earlier stages of connecting to the other side. Tina says, yeah. Yeah.
yes. And it's hard when you don't have support of your spouse and you are constantly being, looked at upon like, oh, this is just all, fun and games and this doesn't mean anything and this isn't even really happening and I don't know why she spends so much time working on this stuff, and it's a struggle and it's
It is.
difficult. But at the end of the day, it's your soul. It's your soul, folks. And if you don't do what you think you should be doing, if you don't follow that soul path, that higher life path that God has in store for you, that is there for you, that is right there, and you're trying to follow and do, later on, what will be left? Resentment,
Yeah.
possibly some guilt. All of those things are negative energies that you do not need to hold on to. So it's like you have to follow that higher self path. You have to follow that life plan, and you have to just go for it and put yourself where you know you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, my family's kind of come around. That doesn't mean I've changed their opinions, because I haven't, but they're more accepting of it, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, and I can say the same thing about my family, is that they are accepting. I love my husband. He is very supportive. He is also a skeptic, but he'll still come and ghost hunt with me. So I adore him for that. So I can't knock him.
Yeah.
But having a support system, and this is something that I would advise anybody, get a support system of other mediums or empaths, anyone who has abilities, and have that in place. There are a lot of groups that you can turn to where you can just talk to somebody else and they get what you're going through.
Right.
I know that's really important for me. Tammy, Dana, so many other people have just been amazing. The Warren Legacy Foundation, I'm a member too, as with Tammy. They are amazing people, and having that support system is the absolute best. So I'm very happy with that. Tammy,
Yes.
I promised earlier that we were going to talk about something.
Oh Lord.
And since we're coming up on an hour here.
Yeah.
So, Tammy.
Yeah.
How do you handle a spider demon?
Oh God, I don't even want to talk about this, but we will. Okay. Yeah, I don't know all of our viewers that are watching. There seems to be this, I don't know, let's call it a new take on a category of negative entity, which looks like a spider apparently. We are hearing this. This is like the second or third different case, and we are not going into details, folks, at all. But this is about the second or third case where it's literally popped up, and I don't know where this is emerging from. I don't know if it's like telephone and one person is saying it and somebody else hears it somewhere, and then I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm sure there could be some, entity that may look like, resemble something like that, but I don't know. I don't know.
My whole thing is, yes, just say no to spider demons.
Yeah, just say no, though.
Just
don't talk to them. Don't even think about them. Let's just eradicate them from the face of the earth.
Because they're so they're so not a thing that we're aware of. And the bigger thing is, if you have a medium that comes to you and says that you have a spider demon and I'm going to charge you $300 and I'll get rid of it, run.
Thank
Run
you.
from the medium, not the demon.
There probably isn't a demon there.
There probably is not a demon there. That is somebody trying to take advantage.
Yeah, but
Actually, that's something I do want to bring up, is that, one of the reasons why we get such a bad name is because of people like that who take advantage. So if you are having issues of the paranormal variety, you are experiencing things, no reputable medium and no reputable paranormal team is going to charge you ever.
correct.
Please know that. If they say, I am going to charge you and I'll cleanse this and I'll get rid of it, no, absolutely not. They are a scammer and they are just trying to cash in on your misfortune. So,
Yeah, and Stephanie says, and why would you even ever tell people something like that? Exactly. Well, I don't know why they would tell people that, and even more things beyond that. But public service announcement again.
yeah.
If you ever hear of a friend, a relative, you yourself, anyone, there are so many paranormal teams out there. There are so many, hundreds, thousands. And
Yeah.
the reputable ones will come in and they investigate and they do not charge.
They
Now,
don't
I
charge.
know, yeah. Now, I know if someone wants us to provide services of a cleansing, they want to, and we always have our clients there, because it doesn't do any good. And that's another good thing to say. It doesn't do any good for me as a paranormal investigator and medium to go in and cleanse your house and then walk out and say, okay, it's all gone. That's my intention. I don't live there. You do. So you yourself need to be highly involved in the cleansing. If you're not sure how to do it, we always can help. Paranormal investigators can help, but it has to be your intention. We also like to look at what your religious beliefs are. We come from it at that angle, and you are the one that has to have the intention, set the boundaries, and do the actual work, because we can't make it leave if that's not your intention. This is your home space.
Yeah. And my goal in working with anyone who is experiencing paranormal activity is I want to empower you and give you the tools to be able to handle this. Because at the end of the day, this is your home, and you are really the only one who can take control of that situation. Can we help? Can I help? Absolutely. But you're the one who has to take control. And
Right.
my goal is always to leave you with the tools to enable you to do that.
Right. Yeah. And I know the only thing we have ever, even locally here on our team, that we've ever had to charge anyone for was cleansing supplies,
Mm-hmm.
because there's certain cleansings that, you need salt and you need all the different accoutrements that you have to go in with. And the client may not know where to get that, or may be feeling
Right.
very anxious about visiting a metaphysical store.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they would say,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this. And then we have to provide some things to do that, to do what we need to do, or possibly closing a portal and we need some shugnite and we need some crystals. Those kind of things are an expense to us that then we may ask them for a slight donation to help us with the
Mm-hmm.
cleansing supplies. But we've never charged anyone for anything. And there's a lot of reputable teams out there that don't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when
There
you
are a
find the
lot.
ones that do,
There are a lot. And if you ever have questions about it, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Tammy. We're both here on Facebook. Tammy Christine Medium, Jennifer Rose Medium. So we're here. You can find us and you can ask questions. And Stephanie brought up the point, in recommending making changes if needed. We
Yes.
will do that with clients. If there are certain changes that need to be made, either in the environment around the home or maybe in, some activities or behaviors, we will certainly make the recommendation if it's
Right.
going to help the situation.
Right. And one of the very first and easiest things that anyone can do that will help, clutter,
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 clean your
clutter.
space.
Energy has to move. It has to be free to move. It cannot be created nor destroyed, just changes form. So it needs to be able to move. So if you're living in a mess and it's cluttery and there's no light in the house, and you know, that's gonna bring and draw forth negativity. So
Yeah.
clean out the clutter, open the windows, you know, get some light in the house.
Hmm.
Those things will make you feel better emotionally as well as help
Absolutely.
with, yeah.
Yeah, I always recommend a lot of natural light. If you have your blinds closed all the time and you've got piles of stuff around, it just becomes stagnant, and
Right.
you want that energy to be able to move.
Right.
So those are some of the biggest things you can do. And there are a lot of other things, but we could talk about this in a whole other show. And Stephanie's
That's true.
in their garage this weekend.
Oh, Stephanie, how hot is it out where you are? That sounds miserable.
That, yeah, yeah, that does not sound like fun. That does
But
not sound
but
like
she's
fun.
gonna have a nice clutter-free, clean garage.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will. So, all right. Well, we are at an hour. You
Yeah.
guys have been wonderful, and you've asked some really
Yeah.
good questions. I love that. Tammy, do you have any parting words for our lovely folks? And tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you just said it. Tammy Christine Medium on Facebook. Working on a website, but the universe will make that happen when it happens. So yeah, just Tammy Christine Medium on Facebook. And I would just leave everyone tonight with parting words of love and light to all of you, and be the best version of yourself every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to thank you all for being here. Oh, you're welcome, Stephanie. Thank
Aw,
you for joining us.
thanks.
This is the first live I've done where I've had a guest.
Thanks,
And again, we're
Tabitha.
sorry Dana couldn't make it. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Savannah.
We're so sorry she couldn't make it, but I'm gonna do this again and make sure that she can. But I really, really love that you guys came. And you can find me obviously here on Facebook, Jennifer Rose Intuitive Medium. Always happy to answer your questions and chat with you guys. And I would just leave you with the thought that the at the end of the day, the only one you have is you. So make sure that you are taking care of you. Okay. All right. I love you all. Mwah. Thank you. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank
Have a good night,
you.
everybody. Bye, McKinley. Thank you, Thomas. Tina, love
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye bye.